My name is Nina, and I'm mother to Kiara, who was a participant at New Hope, graduated in 2009. So happy to be sitting here with her now, a full-blown adult, mother of two, thriving due to many of the tools and skills that she learned while at New Hope. So our story was a little different than many in that New Hope was our final destination around seeking help around the many challenges that Kiara had specific to mental health and wellness. So I didn't personally drop her off on her first day. She was transferred from another facility. However, of course, I was a part of the process remotely and had to learn the new team's names and their relationships and role in her journey, which can be quite overwhelming because and scary because you're entrusting your beautiful child to complete strangers and you're already in turmoil. So I can totally relate to the anxiety that may accompany those emotions and the time. For me to learn to trust the process and essentially have faith that she was in the right place with the right specialist, with a beautiful team that had all of the resources at their disposal to help her, certainly better than I alone could. 24/7 will help to give comfort. And as you learn the team and can build rapport and trust, it will become easier and easier to see that the process is working. I encourage you to get as involved as possible, show up to conference calls or in person if you can. Be optimistic and enthusiastic because your child will follow your lead and needs to know and feel that you believe that this process will work. And maybe initially you'll doubt it yourself, but if you can just fake it till you make it and get there, you will. I sit here with tremendous pride and joy in the being that my child grew into. She already was this amazing being, but she learned to tap into all that she had deep within her. She's shining brightly now, and I believe your child will get there too. One of the main ways in which you can stay and feel most connected to your child while in treatment is to reach out by any means that are offered to you. Every child will have different rules based on where they are in their journey, in their therapeutic journey. But if they have phone privileges, visitation privileges, can receive mail. For example, when my daughter was in treatment, I found it, well, this was many years ago before we had as much technology, but I found it very beneficial to print out photos of loved ones and add, little love messages to her, positive affirmations, and tell her a little bit about what was going on in my life while she was away. And I found that to be a wonderful link between our home and her being in treatment. And I believe she still has this binder, which is quite thick, of all these pages that I had mailed. Now that worked for us because we have a foundation of friendship first and foremost, and we were just trying to navigate through the adolescent years and into our adult years. So you need to decide for your family what will be most advantageous for your child's progress. It may be premature to reach out a whole lot if there's still a lot of work that needs to be done there. Only you know best what's going to work for your family. So you get to make that decision for yourself. That was really positive for us, as well as educating myself on some of the skills, like DBT skills that she was learning, so that I could understand the verbiage and the jargon and not feel so lost when we met with the therapist on the phone for us. During visitation, again, they may look different. They may not be as soon. Every child will have a different journey for sure. But when we were allowed to actually leave campus and have an overnight together, that was an experience. It was quite intimidating for me because, she was exiting a team of people who nobody was ever sleeping while on on duty, to ensure her safety and well-being. And here I was taking her just solo me on an overnight, and we did fine, but there were some snags and hiccups, where I had to remember I'm trusting the process, and okay, so this is where we are now, and and still find fun in it. We both have totally different recollections of how that day went down in that overnight, but it was a good thing, and it was a test. It was a test to see how we would be when alone, interacting with new skills that we were building. So you may be asking yourself, what do you do with your time while your child is in treatment? And for me, what worked best was to keep busy. Obviously, there's a lot of advocacy, but amidst it all, I had to continue to be able to take care of myself, show up at work, maintain our home so that she would have a loving, wonderful environment to come home to. And I also had to take note of everything that was shared in therapy around changes that she may need for me to make within myself and even in our home, so that Kiara could come home and transition as smooth as possible. And also for us, our return to living together was mainly several months of several times a week of in-home hardcore therapy together in the same space. And that for me was very, very different because, of course, Kiara had been doing most of the therapy in person up to that point. And I was the wing woman, and I came in, sporadically. So it was interesting to have a stranger in our home who we came to know quite well, of course, over time, and to discuss the hard topics face to face without a buffer. We had to learn to do that and trust that process. Also, I want to add that while Kiara was in treatment, with her permission, I shared her contact information so that loved ones could reach out to her as they wished. And I think that helped also to bridge the gap. She still felt like she was missing out on things, but still feeling a sense of connection.
So while being a resident in New Hope, my mom made sure that I felt super loved and connected to my life, to the favorite parts of my life. And it made me feel like I wasn't forgotten about, because it's easy to feel disconnected and in some ways pushed to the side when you are in treatment facilities and healing, because you're removed from everything that you know. So receiving care packages and receiving art and letters and phone calls from my mom and then my friends and family, it just made me feel like I was still a part of them. Discharging from New Hope was an emotional journey because I was so excited to be going home, but I was also really scared to be returning back to the reality that I left. I didn't know what to anticipate. I didn't know how people were going to perceive me, and especially my mom. There was so much hurt and trust broken, and I was nervous to go back home and possibly be returning to those same feelings in the house. But my mom redid my entire living space and really made it feel like I was starting over and starting our next chapter together. So I felt very safe at home. I felt like everything felt different, and I felt different returning home. So it just made me feel welcomed. It made me feel welcome to be back. So I would encourage you to make a safe space for your child for when they return home, because New Hope was the safe space for us. And you want to be able to create one safe space to another. So resident to resident, I just want to remind you to have grace with your family. Remember that they didn't get to experience face to face all of the healing that you've been doing during your time at New Hope. So remember, there may be some continued healing that you all do together. And be open. Let them know what you need, and listen to their needs and come up with a plan together so that you understand each other's expectations of each other. It's going to be a journey, but you are reunited and you just have to take your time.
I'm so happy that you finally have found New Hope, and I wish you all the luck and successes that I know are ahead. Good luck on your New Hope journey.